Hey there, comic books fans! Today we're taking a deep dive into the Back in Black Spider-Man comic. But before we start, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and keeps me motivated to create more content for you. Now let's swing right into it. A hired gunman tries to assassinate Peter, but accidentally hits Aunt May instead. With May's life on the line, Peter would throw a car at the shooter and sling to the nearest hospital. He hides from the hospital's staff, but overhears that May has lost a lot of blood and is in bad condition. Filled with rage and anger, he returns to the shooters, perched to look for evidence. He is stopped by a police officer, but restrains him with a coat of webbing. Inside the apartment, he finds a sniper scope, which he tracks to a warehouse full of arms dealers. In no mood to crack jokes, he viciously beats the thugs and interrogates them about the shooter's identity. Back at the hospital, Mary Jane is told by the doctor that May is in a coma, and the only thing keeping her alive are the machines. But sooner or later, she would die. A frustrated Peter heads to a building he never thought he'd visit again, and recovers a cloth version of his black costume. Peter would interrogate countless gun dealers until he made it to the last one after breaking into his penthouse. The dealer tried to feign ignorance, but Spider-Man just threw him into a wall, expecting Spider-Man to try and turn him into the police. The dealer called his bluff, wondering what he was going to do since half the country was looking to arrest Spider-Man. He reeled back with a man in hand and flung him right out the window. The criminal cried out in horror as he plummeted several stories before a bit of webbing latched into his foot. As he barely hung there, Spider-Man appeared again and started asking him some names. The dealer did exactly as he was told. Jake Martino is the assassin. Peter tracks him down to Grand Central Station, where he carefully scans the crowd for his target. He finally spots him and lunges at the assassin. Before he can draw his gun, Peter breaks his arm with no remorse.
Pick it up. You've still got one good arm. Go ahead.
No.
I said pick it up!
And berates him for shooting an old lady before smashing his head against a wall. After a series of interrogations, Peter would eventually find out that Wilson Fisk had put a bounty on his head. Peter would then bid farewell to Aunt May and Mary Jane before setting off to Rikers Island. We see a montage of Peter putting on his black costume and Fisk putting on his white suit. Inside the building, the inmates surround the prison block while Fisk stands in the spotlight. We hear a crash from the ceiling and Spider-Man lands directly in front of Fisk. Fisk calls Spider-Man a chump for believing in the greater good and taunts him about nearly killing his aunt. An unhinged Spider-Man immediately throws a flurry of punches, knocking Fisk off his feet. Fisk continues to taunt him by saying that his usual sense of humor and carefree attitude seems to have been replaced with anger and rage, stating that it must be unfortunate to have nothing in life except the desire for revenge. Again, Fisk is met with a combination of attacks, and he realizes that Spider-Man isn't holding back anymore. He yells at Spider-Man to say something or kill him like he said he would. Spider-Man takes off his mask and says he's not here to kill him, but Peter is. He runs towards Fisk and lands a powerful blow as the crowd roars around them. But Peter doesn't hear the crowd, and he doesn't make any jokes. All he can think about is the man responsible for putting a bullet through the woman he cared for most in this world. After handing a vicious beat down, Peter tells Fisk that even with all his money, he has no real powers, and that he's just a fat man with an attitude, a balloon waiting for someone to stick a needle in. Fisk lunges at Peter, but Peter takes him down with a single punch. He tells Fisk to get up, but Fisk mutters that he can't. As his body is broken, Peter grabs him by his skin and threatens to pour a stream of web fluid down his throat, filling his esophagus and lungs with webbing which would suffocate him within seconds. After counting down to 3, he chooses to spare his life and instead would kill him another day, telling him that if Aunt May were to die, he would return to finish the job and that Fisk would be powerless to stop him. Peter takes the opportunity to send a message to the other criminals that if they ever think about harming his family, they will die a slow, painful death. Peter leaves the prison, while the other inmates watch a broken and beaten Fisk crawl back to his cell.